Now we'll have some questions from the audience.
Again, that as a wise man said, is nothing new under the sun. I think prior to Brown versus the Board of Education, when we were being taught in one-room schools, we had a healthy love for self. We had a healthy knowledge of self in terms of our black history. We loved in terms of what we saw when we looked in the mirror. We saw that self-respect. Even if we had one pair of shoes, they were clean. If we had one pair of pants, they were clean. If we had one skirt, it was clean. So we had respect. We took pride in what we had. Then we had very little, but we had one another because it was, again, because we were living in the apartheid system here of America, this Jim Crow system here in America. So therefore, we had these conditions superimposed on us. So we could not live in other communities. We had to live among ourselves. So we took that not as a negative, but as a positive. So we were able to thrive, not just survive. Today, many are surviving and pretending like they're thriving. So again, what happens is once you see the value of what was in our community, we didn't see the value, some of us, in terms of the gold, but others did see the value of what was in the black community. And that is, of course, with any people are their children. And so once you can take the children away from the parents and then the elders away from the children, who's going to teach the traditions to the children? From the song to the music to the dance to the culture to the hairstyles. All of that was taught from the elders down to the children. But once, again, we think it's by accident that our elders are put in nursing homes, senior citizen homes. It's the only culture you find that taking place. Now Koreans are beginning to do it. Then once you can take away the elders, there's the oral tradition that elders teach back to us, right? Who's going to teach those stories? You don't have that. That's the oral tradition that we bring from Africa. The drum, the dance, the music. It's in the church. It's in our mosque. It's in all of our institutions. But it's our spirituality that feeds our children. So once you take that away, then somebody else comes in and supplant that with something that's no longer organic. It's more satanic than it is organic. It's no longer pure. So what ends up happening is now we take over your schools and we start saying what kind of curriculum is going to be taught, and it's no longer teaching, again, our history so that we truly love ourselves. First thing we look for when we look in the mirror is we're looking for ourselves. So that is the duty and the responsibility of parents and grandparents to teach of the accomplishments of our fathers so our children know what our potentials are and what their potentials are. But once they no longer see that, now they look to other people. And then the other people then becomes, of course, their heroes and sheroes. So it becomes very dangerous because then we begin not to have that love for self and start having a love for others. But that is, again, part of the Illuminati's plan, because once I can get you to hate yourself, then it's easy for me to use you by putting a gun in your hand or a weapon in your hand, and you can take your brother's life or your sister's life because you don't see your own life having value. So you don't see the value of that young man or that young woman or even that older lady now as having value because of what you've been taught. So it ties back into, again, one of the goals of the Illuminati, which is the breakup of the family. And then once we do that, then, unfortunately, I don't want to say sky's the limit, but it goes down as opposed to going up.
Because of the hip-hop aspect of Illuminati. Right. And people forgetting that whole hip-hop comes out of the oral tradition.
That's right.
And the oral tradition has been lost in the hip-hop. Mm-hmm. The true aspect of the oral tradition. We have murdered the griots.
Right, that's right. Yes.
We're not allowing them a voice.
That's what I was going to talk about.
That's right.
We have taken away the voice. Right. The whole beginning of hip hop and Nomo, which is the whole spirit of the power of life in your tongue.
That's right.
So what we speak to our children, what we speak across the airwaves, is what affects them. So that's the answer to her question is yes.
Yes.